Congratulations on the film, first of all. It's a very like thrilling and mysterious film. You wrote the script for it. How did you came up with the story?
Um, I think it was I'd made a couple of short films that were sort of all set in one location with a minimum with really just one actor. With me in them, they were kind of these contained sort of thrillers, and I had then been chatting to Matthias Honer, the director of Little Bone Lodge, about films that feature films that you could kind of set in one location that post COVID might be have a quick route to production because of smaller cast, smaller crew,
Mhm.
uh, quicker shoot time. So he asked me if I had any ideas about films that that would fit that kind of mold, and I pitched him a couple. One of them being this idea of um, I guess kind of like a thriller that isn't quite what it seems, so that you're kind of
Mhm.
constantly trying to twist or meddle with the audience expectations and create the drama out of character interaction rather than set pieces, so that you can kind of keep it budget friendly. And I
Mhm.
always loved the idea of films like Misery and uh, films like The Game, David Fincher's film The Game, that kind of misdirects. And I wondered if you were to take a film, with those sort of, um, I guess those kind of qualities, and kind of try and put it into a one place and mess with a couple of genres, see what will come out of it. So that's kind of where it started.
Okay. And was it like from the beginning already that you decided that you're gonna play Jack, or when did that decision was
Yeah,
made?
I mean that was right from the get go. I mean, I basically got to a point in my career where the stuff that was being, that I was seeing from other people wasn't really the stuff that was exciting to me, and I wasn't really I didn't really feel like I was looking at the work that I wanted to make. So I thought the best thing to do would be to try and create something that was really going to inspire me, that I wanted to make. So I wrote a character that I thought would kind of play to some of my strengths as an actor. And
Mhm.
yeah, that was my flag in the ground, really. I mean, I don't think I wouldn't have let the film get made if I hadn't gotten to play the part that I wrote for myself, for sure.
Okay, so it's probably like easier when you write the part yourself than um to like
I
play
mean,
it than when someone writes it for you.
I don't know, because I mean, I guess from a creative point of view, probably, because you're doing the work from the very beginning. If
Mhm.
you're playing a part that somebody else has written, there's so much character work that you need to invest in, so many things that you need to discover. Whereas when you're writing something organically, a lot of those questions get asked and answered during the writing process. But then, the reality of casting, of pushing for myself to be cast in the film from a financing point of view, perhaps makes it maybe harder to get the film made, because I'm not coming into the film with a huge amount of commercial value to a financier. So would it have been easier to make the film at a bigger budget with another actor attached to it? Probably, but I wasn't interested in doing that. So yeah, so I stuck to my guns, and I was lucky to be supported by a director and production team that were happy to make the film with me.
And how did the rest of the cast came on board? And was it like the traditional casting or another way?
Yeah, I mean, it was a sort of bit of both. We had a casting director that brought that sort of sent got actors to come and tape and read for a lot of the parts. But then, obviously, with the role of Mama, we drew up a list of actors that we thought were the people that would be right for the part. With Jodie Richardson being at the very top of that list, and then Matthias Honer, bless him, was really convincing and going after. She needed a bit of encouragement to do the film, because it is, the nature of what type of role that it is that she's playing. I think was perhaps um, scary for her. But I don't think she'll mind me saying that. It's a big decision to come and want to make a smaller British film that exists in the sort of the genre that we were making it in. But Matthias was, he was really kind of uh, I guess just really went after Jodie hard because we knew that she'd be so great, and we were really lucky that she said yes, and she came and did the film. And then we found the other actors through the sort of traditional casting process, and assembled what I think is a really amazing cast.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so like on screen, the film is like very dark. Was there like when the cameras weren't rolling, how did you guys try to make it lighter or just at least hopefully like a happy atmosphere? How do you guys were able to do that?
Well, it's tricky because the nature of making a low budget film that's all set in one location in sort of 20 days means that it's not always going to be fun. I mean, that's just the reality. I
Mm.
think everybody that came and worked on that film came and worked on that film because they believed in it, and they wanted to make it the very best thing that it could be. So that basically meant that they all came with the perfect attitude, and that's from the actors right the way through to the production assistants. Like every person that was there just had such a great attitude. So even on those
Mhm.
days where it was tough, I think that the fact that it felt, I'm reticent to say like a family, because they bandy that term around a lot. It's maybe at times like disingenuous, but it did really feel like a group of people that were, were all vying to make this thing as good as it could be, and checked their egos at the door and just worked for each other. All the actors were prepared every single day, and the crew were just, we just made things happen. And they were great. So I think I wouldn't go as far as to say there was banter and lightness on the set, but it was a lot of hard work and a lot of emotional support for each other. And it was good. It was good.
And so there's like a shootout scene like around like the middle of the movie, and then towards the end it becomes like darker because you see like well the lady laying on the table with some parts missing. What was like the hardest part of like shooting of the film? Because there are like different tricky bits, I guess.
Do you mean like technically, or from like
Yeah, technically.
well, I think probably the hardest stuff was the exterior night stuff, because we didn't have a lot of money, and lighting anything in the dark, lighting exterior shots at night, is expensive. And also, the film was set during a storm, so anytime we were outside, we needed rain towers and rain machines and lighting. And I guess logistically, those were probably the most difficult days. Also, we shot the film in February, so it was freezing cold, and those scenes where you're stood outside in the rain, that's 2 o'clock in the morning in February, and it's you stood under a rain tower.
No, it
That's
doesn't sound fun.
so those things logistically, like you talked about the shootout at the end. I mean, there's a part of that where I'm kind of on the floor for a big period of it, and that mud was freezing. Like it was actually like it would freeze to my cheek. That was not fun. So like logistically, anything where we were in the exterior was hard. But I think the rest of it was, we had a really good production team that organized the film, made production run as smoothly as we could. So yeah, we were lucky, I think.
Mhm. Just making this film makes you want to write maybe a bit more like uplifting parts, or like parts where it's might go a bit smoother than just like dark parts for yourself.
Me,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I mean, the next thing, I've got a couple of other things that I'm writing. I wouldn't say that they were, in that kind of same genre.
Mhm.
But I definitely like to explore the kind of the darker side of the street. And I think the thing with Little Bone Lodge, hopefully, is that as dark as like the narrative might be, there's in a twisted way, there's hope in it for a lot of the characters, that come out of it with something positive, or something that, at least in their mind frame, is a positive outcome. Uh, so I just wanted to explore relationships, really, and I think that's the thing I'm perhaps most proud of the film, is the fact that I think at any point in the film you should be rooting for somebody else. I think your allegiances
Mhm.
as to who you are supporting probably changes in the film a couple of different times, and hopefully that's because the characters all feel rounded and real.
Mhm. Yeah, my last question was going to be if you already have like next projects coming up. You talked a little bit about it, but can you just maybe tell a bit more if you're alive?
Yeah, sure. I've got a couple of things I'm writing. There's a sci-fi film and then a sort of a UK kind of um, it's kind of a prison thriller, but it's sort of set in and out of prison. And then I have a couple of acting bits that are on the horizon, which I can't really talk much about. But one of them, you know, would be really excited about would have me sort of out of the country for the rest of the year, which would be quite a big thing, quite a big project. But you know, until until someone tells me I can say something, I can't. So um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Um, yeah, well, we're already looking forward to the release of this film.
yeah.
And yeah, good luck with the other projects.
Thank you. Did you enjoy the film?
Yeah, yeah, I did. It was like, as you said, like I was rooting for one person at the beginning, then during the middle someone else, and then I was like, okay, yeah, who I'm actually rooting for, I don't know anymore.
Do you think you
Because
kind of do you think that you kind of saw bits coming that you know because it's obviously it kind of relies on a few different misdirections and stuff, or did it catch you out?
no, it did actually catch me out because like at the beginning I thought, yeah, okay, the lady, she's very sinister, and then when the two guys came in, I was like, maybe they do it, but then the further along it was like, are they both now? Are they all like, you know, weird in their own way? So yeah,
Right. Well, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching it, and thanks for taking the time to ask about it as well. I appreciate it.
yeah, no worries. Alrighty.
Take your time.
We have to help them, Mama.
Thanks for helping.
You're safe now.
Police believe Michael McAllister Jr. along with brothers Jack and Matthew Byrne may be headed north.
Oh, it's
Police
just
believe the men to be
We're
found.
talking about
I didn't do
you.
anything. I just need to...
You ain't gonna like what you've made me do now. But you haven't given me a choice.
He touches my family, I'll kill you.
Get rid of this fucking pumpkin.
Just the two of you running all this land?
That's right.
And who's this?
I'm sorry, I don't,
It's said that mother is the name for God on the lips and hearts of all children.
Jehovah.
She can be glorious
Clever girl.
or filled with wrath. And if anyone were to ever harm her family, there's no telling what she'd be capable of.